Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday, January 27th, 2022. I have a dolly. Yeah, I have a dolly. Hi, baby girl. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. She's off. Off to the races. Yes, she wants to play. She wants to play and run and do all that wonderful stuff. Hello. Welcome. My back hurts a little bit. I was also very tired this morning. I drank some tea from a different cup. It's got the first letter of my first name. My big J cup. Not really that big, but yeah, I had caffeine. I had caffeine. Don't have caffeine all that much, and only in tea. I haven't had coffee in a long time at this point. It's been several months, many months since I last had coffee. Unfortunately, had to stop it. It was too much caffeine. I'll drink coffee again eventually. It's just I need my body to adjust quite a bit to like do a full as much of a reset as I can, even though yeah, caffeine, I mean, you're not going to completely eliminate to zero caffeine intake, but it's definitely a lot lower than it was. Way lower than it was. So yesterday I ended up getting my new M.2 SSD. I got a Samsung 980 Pro 1 terabyte SSD that I installed in the computer, thus why my upper back is a little bit problematic today, particularly because the computer's in the closet next to me, and I didn't want to disconnect the whole computer. I just flipped the power switch on it, but I had to get all the stuff out of the closet so that I could barely fit in there to sit down and actually do work on the computer and get to the motherboard. I had to take out the graphics card to get to the motherboard, and I had to unscrew sections of the motherboard covers, plastic covers, that cover up the M.2 slot that I was going to put this SSD into. I now have two M.2 SSDs. This new one is the far faster one. The other one that's in there is a 970 EVO, Samsung 970 EVO, from the previous generation, and that's what has my operating system installed on it. And it's only a 500 gigabyte hard drive. I wanted more extremely fast storage for the video games, faster than even my two standard SATA SSDs. I have two 500 gigabyte SSDs. I think they're also Samsung SSDs, or I don't really remember. What are they? What are you? You are, in fact, Samsung. Yes, you are, in fact, Samsung. All of my SSDs are Samsung, and my hard drives are Seagates. Yeah, I've got a 6 terabyte Seagate drive, hard drive, as well as a 2 terabyte Seagate drive that I need to empty out and probably just take out at this point. It's still got some stuff on it. But yeah, that was my afternoon yesterday, was getting stuff moved onto the SSD, including Factorio. So, Factorio being on the new drive, I ended up losing like all my settings for the actual game itself and the graphics. So it may look a little bit different because I had to redo all the things for it. And it has definitely helped the loading time on game start. Because if I have Factorio on like a regular hard drive with all of the mods that I have installed on it, the entire Pyandons mod suite, it can take a couple minutes to start It's now loading in about 15 to 20 seconds, if that. It was on my C drive, the other SSD, so it's not as big of a difference. The new drive is like twice as fast as the other SSD, so it had an improvement. Definitely an improvement. Okay. What have I done in the game? What have I done between our last stream and today? Well, last stream, what we did during the stream was we got neuroprocessors. That was the main thing. We got neuroprocessors. We got them... Where did I build those? Here. Right in here. Built out. Starting slaughtering some Ulrich. We also doubled the Ulrich output. Ish. Doubled-ish. We have about 2 Ulrich per second now, and they are accruing at the moment. So it seems I have enough of that. Hello, good morning, welcome. We're just going over now, reviewing what I did last time, which was N amount of neuroprocessors, which has allowed me to get a lot more Mark II buildings after also bringing latex to the mall here. Yeah, right here, latex to the mall. In between time, I have done several things, actually. In particular, I've started work on my back-end to-do list, getting stuff from the main bus, the old main bus, put onto the train network. At this point, I now have red science and all the stuff for the red science, and I'm working towards green science and getting that onto the train network. So I've got glassware in here, in this factory. It's being made out of the boron trioxide recipe with hot air. Unfortunately, God, I really get annoyed sometimes at some of this. Unfortunately, this recipe does not allow efficiency modules. I'm also using benzene. I should have switched that to benzene. No efficiency modules on this recipe with hot air. The version that doesn't use hot air, oh, that takes efficiency modules. That you can use efficiency modules on. But the one that uses hot air, no, you must not do that. You must not do this thing. We're making 5 per second of glassware and have filled up the buffer at this point. I am very much making use of modules where I can, productivity where I can, efficiency where I can at this point in new builds going forward. Down here we have the basic substrate, which is here. I am making a yellow belt's worth of basic substrate. I likely do not actually have the seaweed and the moss to maintain that 15 per second if I were to be demanding it perpetually. I had enough of a buffer to fill the buffer, but I don't know about in perpetuity. And of course, oh, I need more modules. I need more modules. This needs to be efficient. I need productivity in there. I must have productivity on my microorganism mines. I'll need to remember to do that at some point. And then red science, I mean, it's as simple as just 2 ingredients in, right? Oh, it's so simple. Red science. Yeah, it's so simple. You just take 2 things in and you make red science. And then here's the 2 things. Ignoring a lot of their requirements as well. Ignoring the borax, ignoring the rubber. Yeah, ignoring the rubber and the coke and the seaweed and the moss and the cellulose. Oh yeah, cellulose. Yeah, I'm making that here out of kick elk. Unfortunately, the pulp mill does not allow productivity modules in it. That is a building level limitation. I am in fact making 5 cellulose in this build. It uses 1.5 kick elk. That's most of my kick elk production. But I did expand it. I think I'm at 4. I don't remember if this line of 64 is half net or 1 net. How much is 64? What recipe am I using? This one? Am I using the lamps? Yes, I am using the lamps. Alright, it is 1 net each. So I do have 4 kick elk a second right now getting produced, and it's very easy to scale. It does spend more lamps, so I have to be very careful about how many lamps that I am consuming versus the amount that I'm producing, because that's really the only ingredient that I'm inputting into the kick elk setup over here. So I should at least have enough for my fiber needs for now. From there, I also have optical sets getting produced. It is the boron trioxide again. I probably should be providing the boron trioxide itself, because I have noticed I am repeating myself between here and here in these setups, but whatever. It's like, oh yes, I can replace all of this with 1 input station, and then I have an entire train station dedicated to a single building. Making the optical sets out of the glass and the hot air and benzene. I needed more glass, so I went over to here, and I've upgraded to Mark II buildings across the board, and I'm using modules, which means that I don't actually need as many buildings in here anymore. Molten glass itself, fortunately, does allow for efficiency modules, at least with the recipe that I'm using here. So that really reduces the amount of fuel that these glassworks buildings need. It becomes a non-issue when you can reduce the amount of fuel that you need per building by 60%. By 60%? Up to 80%? So that's nice. That's really nice. There's potential here for shenaniganery with beacons on glassworks buildings, keeping speed and efficiency balanced so that you're at minus 80% consumption but going fast, or at least somewhat faster, and it gets better with increased mark levels on these buildings. But yeah, as it turns out, I only need like 40 DCs now, rather than 10 on each of these. But I decided I'd just leave it as is. I'll work on that later. I shall work on that later. And I'm noticing that that is not what I want. I'm noticing that needs to go 1 pixel lower. Yeah, there we go. Yes, I am, in fact, 1 pixel lower. There we go. There we go. We've solved an annoying issue, I'm sure for some. Okay. The last thing I did off-screen between streams was these lab instruments. I have set up lab instruments. It seems rather simple, doesn't it? Doesn't that seem rather simple? It's just a bunch of assembling machines. Yeah, and then you realize, oh hey, we're eating like half my rubber production. We're eating a bunch of iron, a bunch of copper, a bunch of duralumin, and a bunch of tin. Oh, and the optical sets, plus circuit ones. How many circuit ones am I even eating here? Where's the U? No, it wasn't U. Where U? Yes, U. I was eating half a circuit a second just to get 2 lab instruments. I am, in fact, overproducing. I am overproducing on the everything thus far, more than I need for just the science, because I need all of these things for other things in the base as we go on, which is why I distributed all these things, which is why I have the lab instruments, the cellulose, the basic substrate, the optical sets, and the glassware all on their own supply stations. Yeah, the actual science for green science is also going to look like this. It's also going to be like this because it's going to import all of its ingredients. Once I set up the poor alien samples, yeah, it's going to import 2 things and output the science pack. And that'll be it. But I need the poor alien samples and the lab instruments for other factories as we go along. I'll need the poor alien samples to make good alien samples. And I'll need them on the network. I know that I am making them technically in my mall right now, effectively using tailings from way back here somewhere. From, like, here. This Nexalit build. Yeah, I think that's where I'm getting my tailings. Is from way back here. I don't even need the Nexalit. I don't even know why it's continuing to make Nexalit. Is there something in here that's eating Nexalit? Or is it just... oh, it's filling the buffer. Okay. It's still filling the buffer. Once it's full, it'll just stop. Which would also stop the tailings? That's an underflow. Interesting. Is that the only thing with the tailings? Making tailings? Well, anyway. I'm going to be replacing this soon, regardless, with something else. So all that is stuff that I'm doing off-screen, that I'm working towards off-screen. I'm going to be doing all of this stuff that's on the to-do list between streams. We don't need to see this again. I've already done all of this. Maybe not the formic acid on the Vrauk, but we've seen Vrauk with the cocoons and with making more Vrauk. Because this is just making Vrauk and providing them onto the train network and then using them to make formic acid where I need formic acid, aka at latex. At latex. So, all that being said, today we're going to work on getting into good alien samples by starting with Arqads, because that's the that is a necessary ingredient for getting into DNA polymerase, as is retrovirus, which I will also need to set up. Off screen, ideally. I do have a new recipe for retrovirus. We have had to make this before with Vrauk cocoons, but we now have a liquid nitrogen recipe, which triples the output. And saves you from using hot air. Yeah, I'm gonna do the liquid nitrogen recipe. that's going to happen, and then incubators will eventually get a tech upgrade that will allow for productivity, that will just give the building productivity. So this will be a very productive process. It'll be really nice eventually. For now, though, I'm just using this good alien sample thing as a guide, by the way. I'm not... I need to change everything in here to be updated with the most recent mark level of buildings and with productivity. I think I have Mark 2 of all of this stuff. Yeah, filters. Filters, I believe, also have a building level limitation on productivity. It's either a building level or absolutely none of the recipes allow for productivity, but I think it's building level. As are pulp mills. Ah, centrifuge. I need fiber? Microfiber. What's using... Oh. You straight up use microfiber. Aren't I making microfiber for something already? Aren't I doing that for rayon? I'm making fiber for rayon. Yeah, the filter buildings don't allow productivity. Filters, and that is one that I purposefully did not override in my productive Pyandons mod. Filters being not having productivity is actually rather important for balance reasons. They deal a lot with fluids, and I made sure with my productive Pyandons mod that I tried that I didn't really touch fluids. You may notice if you use that mod that it doesn't really touch fluids all that much, or tries to avoid touching fluids as best it can. And that includes leaving in the filter not having productivity. It's just because there's too many circumstances where you could use that to create materials out of nothing. If you had productivity on a filter, I think there's a big potential with flue gas and ash, where you can like put flue gas to ash and ash to flue gas, and if either of those are productive, well, then you've got an infinite amount of ash or flue gas. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. Or what I was trying to avoid with that decision for that mod. Have I tweaked my mods to allow more productivity modules for buildings that would not normally allow them in this playthrough? Not in this playthrough. I don't believe that I've made any changes in this playthrough. I am not using the mod that I created and put out there that I did use in my previous playthrough, called the Productive Pyandons mod. I am not using that this time. As I said, I did use it for Paidu Valley, our previous Pi Alien Life playthrough. I used it along with Bob's modules. Here, I'm not using Bob's modules. I'm using the vanilla modules without the extra productivity. Yes, Simics, I did make a manual change, particularly because it's a change that's coming in the next update to Pyandons mods. So when in the next big balance pass with the next releases, Simics will be available without Circuit 3s. You'll be able to get them at Blue Science Pi Science phase rather than at purple science. Like basically at purple science. They were pushed way too far back because of a Circuit 3 requirement on the Fadi Codex, the cats. They need the tiger DNA, I think, on them, and that needs the Fadi Codex, which needed Circuit 3s. That was changed so that the Fadi Codex needs Circuit 2s, but you still need Pi Science and Blue Science to get the first Fadi technology that unlocks the Codex and the DNA. They are stage 1. Yep. Or you need Blue Science actually to get the stage 1. Interesting. And that gives you the sample and the Codex. And this is the thing that needed the change. This was the one that took Circuit 3. So it's actually not even at Pi Science. Oh, yes, it is, because you need the land animals, stage 3. And that needs Pi Science. So you do need both to get into stage 1, Fat Eyes. These are the dancing armored cats. Tigers, whatever. Dancing armored tigers that they dance on a disco stage. And it plays like music as its background. They are, in my opinion, the coolest / most unique, the most amusing, definitely, of all of the animals in Pi Alien Life. So, Arqads is what I wanted to work on today. Because they lead into the DNA polymerase. We need to do them at some point, and they are going to be marginally easier than getting into Corlax. Because to get into Corlax, we're going to need to set up fish, and we're going to need to make artificial blood to get the first Corlax. It's going to be a bit of a mission to do the Corlax. The Arqads are still a bit of a mission, but not as much of a mission. So we're gonna work on that, and I need to decide how I'm gonna really do this in the grand scheme. Because really, to get good alien samples going at like 0.2, but whatever, I only need like 3 apiaries, like 30 total Arqads, and enough empty honeycombs to maintain this cycle. So when I'm making these, when I'm making the honey, which is going to be like output onto the train network, I will have honey output onto the train network, which reminds me I should probably set up a request for filters to do that. We're going to need to make an amount of honeycombs, and that has its own infrastructure, which I will, of course, start to request here. I'm going to need... the Mark II spore collectors need electric engine units, as do the Mark II slaughterhouses. There's a couple Mark II things I can't get into Blue Science, unfortunately. I need the FTS reactors. And the fluidized bed reactors. Wherever those live. Where do those live? Here? Yes. And outside of the apiaries, I think we're good. So then I can request a few apiaries. Just a few. I'm going to stick them into the train and let me get another batch. So I'll have about 100 stored up. Oh, there's a free inventory spot. I should get to my train, now that I'm thinking about it. Let's see, what else? What else? I'm not even looking at the actual Arqads themselves. That's going to need its own set of infrastructure. Oh boy. I need these. And smelters. I think I'm one inventory slot short. Okay, now I've got my inventory sorted. Smelter Mark IIs. Alright, take those. And now we just need to get a restock going. Oh, right, and I need... gosh. And I need my initial batch of Arqads. This is the final thing that I did right before the stream today. Early this morning, I should say. Which was actually start making Arqads through the initial creature chamber recipe. I should have about 30, I think. Maybe a little more or a little less. I have 42. Alright. How about some inventory? What can I do here? Is there anything like a one stack anywhere? I'm not seeing. Unfortunate. Get rid of warehouses. Oh, I'm not even requesting the warehouses anymore, am I? No, I am. Get rid of that. And grab my Arqads. Because I use either the depots or the sheds. The vast majority of the time. I don't really use warehouses. I tend to use the depots on mining sites, getting speed increases. I tend to use the sheds, well, for mining sites that use regular mining drills, and I use the sheds on the larger miners like crystal mines. Sometimes. I mean, I do use regular chests. It depends on how fast the machines are going. Oh yeah, I did upgrade some of this. I've got 4 at Mark II, these 2, that are producing the red belts that are getting processed in here, making me my glorious molten glass. I doubled my molten glass production by doing this upgrade and adding more input of quartz. I'm now at 300 per second, I think. It used to be 150 per second of molten glass. Now it's 300. And I could change all these to be Mark II as well, which would actually free up... It would allow me to triple. It would allow me to triple the actual output, because these 2 lines can become red belt lines, actual red belt lines, by increasing these to Mark II, leaving this pair to be 2 more red belts, and then this set can be 2 more red belts. So, 4 spare potential red belts, as well as having 2 that are loading onto the train. Yeah, it's a lot of potential production here. Able to just copy this twice more to get up to 900 per second of molten glass. I will have to do that at some point, most likely. Where am I going to do this is a great question that I don't know the answer to. Probably out here. Yeah, in one of the incomplete squares to give me all of the space that I need. I'm going to need a few doohickeys. I'm gonna need steel. Gonna need steel. I don't want to carry steel at the moment. I just want to. We'll deal with that later. I'm probably gonna have to scale my Relesia. I don't remember what I built it to. My Relesia is using. I think it's actually a yellow belt. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I made a yellow belt of Relesia out here. This is using the most advanced recipe that I currently have access to. It is a manure recipe. Yeah, manure plus biomass plus soil plus seeds plus hydrogen and... Ew. Oh my god. I have to fix that. Ahem. Only half of this has been operational the entire time. Because half the buildings are rotated backwards. Now that's something I will immediately go to fix, because that effectively doubles my Relesia production for free. That doubles my Relesia production for free. It's amazing that I've actually been able to get by at half a belt this whole time. Let's see, how many of you are there? 80. Yeah, you know, it's a net yellow belt out, I'm pretty sure. And it's why I'm using a shed here. Yeah, now to rotate 40 buildings. There we go. Much better. Now they can actually move. And I will eventually upgrade it. And add even more production. Not right now, though. Okay. You. I was looking at how many inputs I'm going to need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inputs. I messed up. Yeah, I had messed up here. Now we're proper. Now we're good. Yeah, it was a copy paste, I think, of the lines. Hey, my dolly. Hey, pretty dolly. Coming to join me? Yeah, the pretty baby. So I need some room to fit a few stations. I think this will still be fine no matter what. I have updated my station blueprint to include the power lines now. And it has like a different arrangement here. I've made sure to put a supply station first. And it has 2 requests. I could trim it if I wanted to. I'm not always going to need 2 solid requests. I'm not always going to need a solid supply, but I don't know, it's just going to be better off having these lines here. I don't have to keep manually placing all of the power lines on all of this. Makes it easier to copy and paste the stations as well. All right, where am I? All the way over here. Gosh, that's going to be painful. Oh yeah, I scaled the acetylene as well. I completely forgot. So I was out of acetylene for my lead and titanium in particular. I was completely out of acetylene. So I upgraded to Mark II on one of the 4 builds. I also realized that there were ghost pipe entities right here that prevented the output of acetylene from this entire section, from this entire quarter. So by doing that, allowing that to move, and by upgrading this to Mark II, it vastly increased the amount of acetylene, but I see I still messed up by not noticing this pipe right here on this one. So I'm operating one short. I'm going to be upgrading all of it to Mark II eventually. Fortunately, this build does not need any additional buildings in it, even though the difference in crafting speed here is not straight up double. Is because I actually overbuilt it initially. It was just ghost pipes that I had run out of. And I don't carry around the iron pipe anymore. So when I was initially building the thing, I didn't notice that I left ghost entities behind, as I had originally built it. Pretty sure I built that whole thing off screen as well, which sucks, because like, oh yeah, no one was around to actually see the mistake when it happened of not noticing that there was a ghost entity there. Alright, let's get all of this taken care of. So nice not having to put all those power poles in manually now. Alright, welcome to Arqads. This is Arqad production. So, Arqads out of Arqads. This is not going to be... Well, it might be the honeycombs as well. It should be the honeycombs as well, because I'm going to need Relesia at both of these. Wow, that's a lot of bitumen. Natural gas. We need to have a little conversation about natural gas. Wax for advanced castings? I am not even thinking about wax at the moment. Isn't it just like honeycombs to wax? You know, it would help if I spelled wax correctly. Yeah, it's honeycombs and hot air into wax if I wanted to produce wax. Wow, an entire honeycomb just for 10. with no productivity. I may eventually want advanced castings, but do I really want to provide the empty honeycombs and spend all of this on the empty honeycombs? Not really. Not really. Not yet. If I eventually do advanced castings, it won't be until after I have Simic blood for oleochems. In particular. Because making these honeycombs is going to require oleochemicals. I don't want to have anything that consumes them infinitely at this time. The Arqad, though, the actual production of Arqads, that's fine. I don't know what I need actual Arqads for, though. Like, do I need actual Arqads for much? I can get arthropod blood. Hey. There's venom. Chitin. Oh, wow, you actually need the venom for pesticides now. That sucks. And antivirals. Wait, did they really give a better antiviral recipe by adding in solidified Sarcoris? In no universe is 20 solidified Sarcoris going to be worth 50 antivirals. I am going for the honey. Like that, the whole point is the honey for the good samples. That's really the only reason I'm doing the Arqads right now is for the honey, for the DNA polymerase, for good samples. That's why we're here, setting up Arqads in the first place. They may be used for other things, but for now, we're gonna have this. Harmonic absorbers. What changed there? Negasium. Really? You added in Negasium to harmonic absorbers? At least they'll have productivity from the Research Center tech upgrade. At least they're gonna get a 35% tech upgrade. Yeah, I see the Negasium. Cridron, adrenal cortex. The good samples. That gives Negasium, Perogen, and solidified Sarcoris. It gives a lot of the... That's not how I play, sadly. For some. I don't do that. I'm gonna find... Gosh. I'm, generally speaking, going to be burning any and all byproducts. In which case, if I need Negasium for harmonic absorbers, I'll be burning Perogen and solidified Sarcoris. I doubt I'm going to have that much extra, but we'll see. I haven't gotten to the late game yet. I'll find out. I'll find out then. I will gladly burn extremely expensive byproducts. Gladly. I'd rather do that than deal with the logistics of having to use them. I'm not going to be doing a priority-based usage of byproducts in this space. period. Too much of a hassle. I'm not doing it. If I do it for one thing, I have to do it for everything, and I'm not doing it. Anyway, Arqads, you, pin. Okay. So natural gas, I am still like up in the air about exactly how I want to deal with natural gas because yeah, we could mine it. It won't last that long though. Really, my two that I've been considering here. I use too much nickel for that. How much bitumen does... Oh, that's way too much hot air. No, no, no. No, no, no. I was looking at the shale oil recipe with Nextlit and vacuum, and I'm looking at the bio oil. The thing about the bio oil, though, is that it requires silicon carbide and quartz tubes, which you have to spend rare earth oxides for. And I'm not really interested in making bio oil if it's going to require rare earth oxides, frankly. Like, it doesn't matter how few quartz tubes it uses. The fact that it's using them sucks. And it just sullies the whole concept of using bio oil for anything in the base. So, no, I will not be doing that for natural gas. So instead, that leaves me with one option in grand total on the natural gas for Arqads production, which, of course, is to spend bitumen to make shale oil. Few options for shale oil, though there is this depolymerized organics from manure and subcritical water, which would be a hell of a big expense. All right, I can actually make heat exchangers, but it's a lot of hot air. Oh my gosh, you need so much of the subcritical water if I were to go this route. It would be a absolute ton. It's so much that Helmut refuses to do the math because it knows that it's worse. It knows that this process is just worse overall. And it spends manure, which, yeah, we're not in a good spot right now to do that. Maybe eventually, when I have a lot of manure and such, it will be a better option. But, yeah, and I'm not going to spend the tar and titanium tetrachloride on the shale oil. Eventually we get Keragen that can make various things, including shale oil, directly for a Mark 1 fuel rod. By the time you get Keragen, that's going to be, like, rather cheap. And I don't really feel like drilling fluid either on the stuff here. Because we could get drilling fluid too to make it slightly bearable, but nah. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Helmut thinks that this is cheaper, though. That's just a lot of stuff I would rather not spend. I'd rather spend more plates, to be honest. I'd rather spend the plates and the bitumen there. For now. I'll change it to something else most likely later when I get access to other things. Because there might, like, you can just carriage it into natural gas and crude oil eventually. You can also frack for natural gas eventually. Anywhere. You can get natural gas from gas bladders eventually. That's probably a better option much later in the game when I can have infinity amounts of Fagnots to get those gas bladders. That would be a great option for using gas bladders. For now, though, this is what we're going to stick with. And I'm going to start with what? Over here, start with you. I need the hydrogen. All right, give the water. Ta-da. Power. There you go. Vent the oxygen. There's all that. Next, what? The production of the natural gas, I suppose. All right, we need 2 of you. You need a fluid fuel. In this case, it will be benzene. I have said before that if I have a circumstance where I'm using bitumen and also need a fluid fuel, that I would use the bitumen for the fluid fuel, but not this time. I need so much bitumen that I can't justify adding another 19.3. Missed a pipe on what now? Oh, here. I just didn't put it all the way down. Okay. Do that. Because, yeah, I'm already in a situation where I need more bitumen. Despite making like 1200 per second of the stuff. Okay, it looks like I've got 1 train waiting right now. Yeah, I've got a bit of infrastructure already on bitumen, and I need even more. This is just speaks to the amount of like tar in particular that you need across the base. All right, that goes down to there. Get input, output. Chromium plus 10. I should have that. Famous last words. All right, and we need 2 of these buildings. Oh boy. Alrighty then. Yet again with the bots. Please go away. I had 2 bots come in yesterday, during yesterday's stream, where I had a grand total of 0 viewers. Ahem. Yes, yesterday when I was streaming the Hunter Call of the Wild, and I had a grand total of 0 viewers. That absolutely no one showed up to watch. 2 bots came in. Like, excuse me. Why are you going to my stream if there's no viewers for your bot? I guess they don't care about the view count. I guess they don't care at all. give me this. That should... Oops. I don't even need that. That should cover it. Alright. There's that. 3 DDCs. Can I just note that this arrangement of pipes sucks? I just want to make it clear that the arrangement of pipes here sucks. Ah, da da. Because it means I can't have the buildings all next to each other like I would normally have them. Okay. And then pressure pumps. I need 6 of you. And that, as they say, is that? Oh, right. Excellent. Ta-da! That's that. That produces natural gas. From here, I'll do the biomass next. It takes in stuff and... Oh. So how does that work? The building allows productivity, but the recipe itself doesn't. But this building is a furnace type building. So does it respect the setting for the recipe to not allow productivity? Or does that not matter at all? Does it only care about what the building accepts? I must know the answer to this. I must find out the answer to this question. I'm actually gonna import my logs right now, little bit early. This will eventually supply Arqad. Request logs at Arqads. Arqads. Bring me logs. Really? Log train is busy? I might need another train on logs. I never remember where I put my logs. It's a massive build. How can I always forget about it? Here. It's here. It's going to Ulrich Food. Yeah, I really could use additional locomotives on that line. Logs. Supply, depot, full cargo, circuit condition, apply to both. Limit to like align each and go and go. That should help a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Okay, good. I named that already. Because I am very, 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 very intrigued by this. This is not something I've thought about. Why Hellmod would say that productivity is not allowed for this process of making biomass when the building itself allows productivity modules. And of course, eventually, the building itself is going to get a tech upgrade, which is broken, which has an issue, I think. I don't know if this is going to be fixed, but there is a bug, I think, with these tech upgrades. You may notice the problem here. Worm hotels add 30% energy consumption, so it needs more power to get plus 10% productivity, while also increasing pollution by 95%, right? That sounds... It's moving. There's no productivity bar. There's no productivity bar. So the answer is, it does not. While you can put productivity modules into it, it does not get a productivity bar. So efficiency modules are going to be going in there. Yep, that does not work. But the building itself is supposed to get productivity off of these. So what happens? What happens when we get the technology that gives the building productivity? Aha. Okay, so then that means this entire thing is busted. Doesn't it? The only thing the recycling center can do is make biomass out of stuff. And if all the stuff is defined as not allowing productivity, these upgrades do absolutely nothing, even if they add productivity on the building. It will not give you more stuff when the recipe does not allow for productivity. which is broken. Why have technologies that give you a technology that gives you a productivity upgrade to a building who doesn't have any recipes that take productivity? Like, what? That's a bug. That's a bug right there. What's also a bug is the fact that the Humus Pocus gives you 10% productivity while reducing energy consumption and pollution at the same time. When the Worm Hotel increases energy consumption and pollution to give you plus 10 productivity. And then constant irrigation gives extra speed at the cost of extra power requirements. So it's like, yes, let's reduce the power of the building and make it productive, versus let's increase the power consumption of the building and increase its pollution while giving us productivity. Humus Pocus, I think, is supposed to be minus 10% productivity. For what good that does. It would, like, offset any modules you put in, because the floor's at 0 anyway. Not something I would ever pick. I would definitely take the productivity on the normal thing from Worm Hotel if productivity worked in this building, but apparently not. It will not output 10% more biomass for the stuff that you put in because the recipes don't allow productivity. Pretty sure recipes take precedence. I'm pretty sure recipes take precedence. Like, for example, in Bob's mods, if you allow productivities in beacons, the productivity effect will not affect buildings whose recipes do not take productivity. And that's what would happen here with the tech upgrade. It would do jack all. So that means in the current state, there is only one tech upgrade that you can take for the compost plant, and that's the one that increases its speed. That's the only one worth taking at the moment, because the productivity does nothing. Unless there are some recipes for making biomass that do take productivity. But the thing about that is those recipes are programmatically created from a list. It's a function that defines the recipes, and it brings in from a list of names. It just inserts whatever ingredient name as the ingredient for the output, or maybe it's a little bit more complex because it has to define how much output for the given input as well. So probably like some sort of a matrix defined with an input and output ingredient, and then it programmatically puts it into a recipe, something like that. And there's a lot of that type of shenaniganery with a lot of repeating recipe types, where it's just a list and then make several recipes based off of the entries in this list for different either ingredients or outputs or whatever. So now we know the answer to that. It's rather dumb, but sure. We now we know. I'm also going to need some empty barrels. Just a few empty barrels. Eventually. You can go fast. You don't really need to go fast. So I don't know if that's going to be fixed in the next updates to the mods, because I know that coming with Pi Alternative Energy will be a major update and balance update to the rest of Pyandons mods. You know that it's possible to add productivity that overrides any disallowed productivity if it's part of the building itself. Well, that's the thing. It's not part of the building itself. The upgrades, all of these technologies from in here, all of this, these are not directly added to the building itself. These do not get added to the building itself. It does not redefine the building entity as having productivity. It adds a hidden beacon in the middle of the entity that affects only that entity. It is a beacon effect with 100% transmission efficiency. So, no, it would not behave that way. And yeah, I know that I saw Factorio actually did have some buildings that were productive. You're saying they've removed their productive buildings? I am shocked and appalled that they would do such a thing. Alright, show me all the things here, because I need to bring in the chromium and tin. The game is darker. Graphics. Better. Better. Our chromium at Arqads. Our tin at Arqads. Alright, tin. Oh, hey, there's actually tin. Is there chromium? Nope. Gonna need to wait on a train for chromium. Come on down. There we go. And then fluid input. 2 fluid inputs, I should say. Alright. Where do I have a fluid station? Right here. Go ahead and grab all that. Doink. No, not there. There and there. Nope. Alignment. There and there. Okay, we're good. Our bitumen at Arqads. Not Arqads, Arqads. Our benzene at Arqads. Benzene. Bitumen. There we go. That will fuel the catalyst when we eventually get chromium brought in. This is the huge bitumen expense. Ugh. Ta-da! Wait for you. Well, we've got plenty of tin. My goodness. I keep seeing tin trains. Not a single chromium train, though. Despite having a bit more infrastructure for chromium than I do for tin. Oh, I see a problem. Something slowed. It was probably CO2. Right. My chromium is choking right now, but from a lack of CO2, I'm pretty sure. And it has been for a while. I need to go... and add... Oh, I have 3 trains on CO2 right now, and they're all active. And I probably don't have the production. How much do I even have? I'm making the logs local for the biomass. All this is logs. Like, I know that I did this before I set up a dedicated log factory over here. But because I have a dedicated log factory, I should be able to scale this a lot better going forward. Because I can scale my log factory. And I can import logs. I mean, yeah, it's great that this is made from nothing. I don't need to import anything to produce the CO2, but I happen to need a lot of CO2 for chromium processing in particular. Yeah, this is just lacking in CO2. Do I have a bad request amount here? Most likely. I don't know. It's just they're going places. Zinc acetate and chromium. I guess zinc acetate, I am using a fair amount of CO2. So I could increase this infrastructure to Mark II. I wouldn't need as many of the high pressure furnaces. And I could make these Mark II and it'd be great. Import more thingamaboppers. Well, let's keep moving. I've done basically everything besides actually placing the apiaries. So let's start placing these apiaries down. You to start us off. I am going to need another station. For Relesia. Request Relesia at Arqads. Oh yeah, and when I eventually get smart farming, we are absolutely going smart farming. But that's like utility science, right? Yeah, that's utility science. I absolutely want to go and do smart farming because yeah, harvesters are mining drills. And while the amount of stuff that spawns isn't really infinite, I mean, you can spawn the stuff infinitely, but the patch that you make of smart farms isn't infinitely dense 100% of the time. You have to keep feeding stuff to make more density. They're still mining drills, which means that they are subject to mining productivity. Which is the key thing that makes this process particularly wonderful for making the plants that you can do smart farming with the exception of the bioreserve. You don't need it for the bioreserve, but the Aurum, Grodd, Kickalk, Relesia, Renea, Tufra, Yotoi, yeah, all of this is fantastic for doing smart farming. Okay. So how much Relesia versus biomass versus natural gas barrels? Actually, I might want to reverse these. One tile back, please. What even am I doing? You. Move a little bit to the side. So I'm trying to design this in such a way that it is, in fact, scalable. And that is my alarm to indicate that we are halfway through today's stream. Already. Oh my goodness. Halfway. Yep, that's going to be that. I need to filter the empty barrels to the right. Ah, I didn't leave enough room. Huh. Alright then. Elysia, you go that way. So that would be the output of Arqads. It'll go over here and into the thing. And this is what will get copied and pasted 75 times. I guess I should do the mirror as well. How does the mirror look? I guess it doesn't matter. It will look exactly the same. I need to decide how big I want it to be, like how low I want it to go. And I'm definitely going to need a lot more red belt and such and all of the wonderful things. So with that, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to be back in just a few minutes. And I have returned. Welcome back. Let's get going. Apiaries! They exist now. Oh boy. Working towards the Arqad honey. Alright. Gosh. I want this spacing to be relatively consistent, because it will need to go down quite a ways. Do I still not have chromium? I still do not have chromium. Wow. Interesting. Because that's preventing me from getting any natural gas. I mean, I still need to get steel. Yeah, I don't need these anymore. And I definitely don't need the extra apiaries. So I can put in my request for... Oh. For existent steel. I mean, I need a few units of steel. Just a few. Alright, how many of these buildings in a single line? 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Do I have 3 lines of 26? Depends. Do I want to go lower or over? Well, I think this whole thing is going to be dedicated to Arqads anyway. So, 22, 4, 6. Whoops. (22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, all trees must die. Trees, you are in the way. Get out of here. Alright, if that's 30, I might be able to actually fit 76 in a single line. Or, you know, 2 lines. Technically, but yeah. If I can do that, I will be supremely happy. A rock died from the poison. Like, okay. That's 30. I know that that's 30. Yep. Get rid of all of the resources in this square. Two, 4. Get out of here, trees. It's 34, 30. 36, 38, 40. 2, 4, 6, 8, 52. 4, 6, 8, 60. 2, 4, 6, 8. How unfortunate, kitty. My Ollie bringing his baby. Yeah, Ollie bringing his baby. So that's 68. Dang. We can double check that that's 68. But I'm pretty sure that that's 68, which, you know, is not equal to 75. That is, in fact, 68. All right, then. $75 over 4 times 2. 38. Okay. So I'm gonna need to find where 38 is. Where is 38? And that's where I'm gonna trim. $32, $4, $6, $8. Okay. So all of that gets copied here. Nothing else needs to change. And then all of this gets deleted. There we go. Ta-da! That's how we're doing it. That's how we're doing it, making use of our space for now until we get a different recipe that adds in extra ingredients. These guys have maggots, right? That you can grow in the creature chamber. Two G's in that word. You get eggs. Okay, so it's egg into maggot with hot air. Oh boy. And it's part of the upgrade system. Interesting. Oh, and they get fed to Simics. Interesting. Okay. But the point is that there should be a recipe that takes 10 maggots and gives you 20 Arqads. With growth factor, resveratrol, and fetal serum. This is what I'll be using for all of the animals that have this in the late game. Because that recipe is vastly superior to just about everything else. I'm pretty sure that that balance has not yet changed. It may be changing in the future, but for now, being able to double your Arqads for the maggots in should be good. But the question is, how many maggots per egg? You get four maggots from 5 eggs, and then Arqad egg. Are these even remotely made in Vrauk paddock? Incubating. Arqad Mark 1 incubating recipe. Pathogenic method of reproduction. 20 eggs from an Arqad nest and Vrauk food in a Vrauk paddock. What the heck is the nest? A filled comb, an Arqad, and 3 Vrauk. Ew, you need, like, comb stuff going on for that. We'll stick with the pheromones, but is there not a pheromone antiviral? Really? They don't get an antiviral? So at most they get 8 eggs? Which would be, what, 14 Arqads-ish? With the ratio of loss, 13, 14. Total Arqads off of spending Zipier eggs. Does it always need Zipier eggs? No. What's the least expensive output for 8 with pheromones? Because the speed isn't really that important. Biomass pheromones releasia, red hot coke, natural gas barrels. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That right there. Interesting. But yeah, it's... I'm gonna have to, like, destroy the whole thing and redo it anyway when I get to that point, right? So, let's just leave it as is. The whole point of looking at all of that was because of spacing between the things. If I should have allowed for another lane here in particular or something like that. Set it up to allow more belt lines in between. I mean, I guess technically I can add 1 extra ingredient to 4 ingredients off of the existing infrastructure. Adding in a 5th would, or 5th, 6th would be a bit of a hassle. I should grab my apiaries from the vehicle. Grab the vehicle apiaries. I'm also going to have to sneak in some radars somewhere. Oh, Locoist of Locomotive. Give me my apiaries. Thanks. Hey, at least I don't have to worry about bringing cages in for these things. One of the few critters that does not use cages. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Of course I do need more belt. And all this other stuff. Alright, destroy all trees. All the trees must die on this day. And we're still not done with the apiaries because we also have to set up the empty combs, which is going to need this stuff. Oh god. One step at a time. One step at a time, please. I'm gonna stick that infrastructure in here along with the FB reactors, the FTS reactors, the filters. Oh, I don't need 20 of you anymore. Yeah, FTS and FBs. Okay, I think we're good. We can get rid of those requests now. I hope. So that when I go and restock, I can not have to worry about it. Because I'm going to be getting a whole bunch of steel plates. A bunch of. Come on, just give me a batch of chromium. I know it's needed like everywhere. The nichrome is just pounding my demands. Seeing stretches of nothing produced does not help either. And it just immediately uses all of the wonderful carbon dioxide. I think I have to address this. I think I have to address this, like, immediately. I legit need, like, another train for CO2. I can fit one more. But just because I can fit one more doesn't mean I have enough production for it. P, that's the one I'm looking for. Fluids. Over the last 10 minutes, CO2. Yeah, it's what I thought. I am consuming, on average, 131,000 per minute. I am producing 129,000 per minute. This number is higher than this one, which means that I am not producing enough for the base. It's an easy enough fix. Let's go take care of it, and then continue quickly with more Arqad shenanigans. It always takes time setting up a new creature, and unfortunately to set up good alien samples, we're going to need to set up a few more creatures. To get into the... Like, we need to set up on the path towards Pi Science as well as the good alien samples. Oh goody, I've made more Arqads. I've made more, I don't need to wait as much. Because we're going to need, on top of the Arqads, we're going to need Corlax, and Cotton Guts, and Yadles. We're going to need Yadles as well. I have Yadles, fortunately, produced up in here. I have 269 hanging out. Don't know if I need Tufra. We'll likely have to do that at some point soon. Actually, I will want to set up Tufra for some of the other creatures or something like that. And then once I have good samples and artificial blood... Oh yeah, fish too. Like, oh goodness. We have fish. Eventually I'm going to need the sea sponges. Fortunately, I have some of those. But yeah, Muckmo. We'll have to set up Muckmo too. Ugh. Stuff things. Do I want this to keep moving? Probably not at this point. I'm gonna give that a no. No, I do not. Let's just make that last one. And we'll head off, fix the CO2, / improve the CO2, and then go off to the side. To improve the CO2, I am going to need my Mark II compost plants and additional Mark II high pressure furnaces. So if my bots can bring me those, that would be very much appreciated. My upper back. Oh gosh, my back. Oh. Yeah, installing the SSD into the computer yesterday really did a number on my upper back. Did I change seaweed to limestone with Mark II? That would save CO2, yes, and would explain why I'm using more CO2 right now, because I'm consuming more seaweed with the stuff I did between streams. But that's another mission. That's going to be part of my broader scale changes in here. But yeah, I want to swap to limestone to save the CO2 on this and convert it to Mark II production buildings. Can I seaweed Mark II? Not yet. Oh look, it's molybdenum trioxide plus fertilizer. Oh, speaking of fertilizer, I can get fertilizer whenever I want. I can get fertilizer. Ugh, Zogna though. Zogna though. Oh. Ew, ew, ew. I like this one, I think. The 10 for that stuff more than spending Zogna. Or Zogna plus urea, which is more Zogna. Okay, let's get to you. I'm going to need to put in a requester station for logs. Shouldn't take long to get here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these Mark II. Because I think I've actually got like 1200 per second of the CO2, which is nuts. Correction, I have 15. Oh. I have 2,000. Net. That's right. It uses, or not even. I think it's using a lot of this on the moss back here to keep this system going. Yeah, I think I'm gonna break it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna break it. Alright, build this. Are logs at CO2? Let there be logs. Come on down. The irony being, I'm gonna probably need even more of those shortly, because I'm about to do one of these. Give me these as well. What is it failing to insert? these things. This doesn't do much unless I also upgrade all of these. Yeah, I don't need that at all anymore because none of this infrastructure is required. I could delete it. I'm not going to right now. Okay. I need red belts. Because each one of these is giving 20 biomass. 20, 40, 60, 80. And then what's going on with the CO2? Let me have a... Yeah, it's a few. 5. It's consuming 37.5, so that's 2 of these. So this section right here is not required unless I add 2 additional... unless I add 2 additional thingies here, but then I have to somehow smash it into the storehouse. 2 more lines in, likely from this side. There you go. Red belt out, red belt out. Oh, those belts are going in the absolute wrong direction. There you go. And then each one of these needs to be a dedicated CO2 pipeline. Alright, there's one. And there's the original one, but I'm going to redo all that pipe as well. Actually, no, that's not the original one. It was this one? You. Yeah, you. Enjoy. And then down here. This way. To you. Okay. Now we should have significantly more CO2 production, although for whatever reason you have died completely. Why have you died completely? This pipe has broken. Ah, right, duh. there to there. That's better. That's better. That moment when you realize you've got 4 full throughput pumps, over 4,000 units per second of CO2 coming in now. Oh boy, and the trains are still going. The trains are very, very busy. What are they busy with? Logs, Chromium 1. Chromium 1, baby. And then request CO2 at Moss. Moss, Chromium, logs. Yes, logs. We'll need some as well. I'm going to add another train. To this mess. SD full cargo circuit condition automagic. Okay. Done with that distraction for the moment. This should help a lot. God dang, this uses so much CO2 that it like immediately empties this the tanks. It's bringing 50,000 units at a time, and it's just not enough. There should always be something going to Chromium. Are you going to go to Chromium? Yes. Logs, seaweed, Chromium. Where are you going to go? Logs, seaweed, Chromium, moss. Logs, seaweed, Chromium, moss. Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. To some degree, anyway. How are we looking on our stuff here? Pretty decent. Almost there. Just 5-3. Okay, we're good. Back to the apiaries. Okay. Get out. Let's go. Let's get some stuff going on here. Have we gotten Chromium yet? Yes. Thank God. I still need the Nexlet, because apparently I completely forgot about the Nexlet. Alright then. Next ingredient. I thought I was done with supply stations. Apparently not. Actually, no, I'm far from being done with supply stations. I will need several more. If I'm also including production of the honeycombs. Request Nexlet at Arqads. Bring me my glorious Nexlet. At least I don't have to worry about the Nexlet demand at this point in time. I'm making a yellow belt of plates. Speaking of which, I said last time that we met that I would go out and tap into Nexalit rocks for ore. I have done so. And I have deleted the tailings, the dedicated tailings section from the Nexalit build. So I'm now bringing the Nexalit ore in and processing it into a yellow belt of plates. I didn't feel like scaling this even further beyond the yellow belt of plates at the moment, but I'm more than capable of doing that. I'm not ore restricted anymore. As for which nodes I tapped into the 2 Nexalit nodes that exist down here near the activated carbon area. With a single guar, it caps the output of the machine at 60 ore per second. 60 ore per second. Two yellow belts per mine at the cost of some drill heads. It took hundreds of buildings just to get the 12 ore I needed to get the 15 plates out. It took hundreds of entities to do soil, sand, pure sand, and burning of pure sand to get enough tailings, plus the 7 evaporators to evaporate the tailings into the Nexalit ore. It was a lot of stuff that I'm glad I don't have anymore. What I'm also going to do here is I'm going to, for the moment, just stick stuff into a box there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the logistics. I actually didn't want you there. I shouldn't have trimmed this here because I do have an amount of Arqads. I'm gonna actually trim it here. I know I've got 4 in you, but yeah, I'm gonna want to have these get their stuff first. Just priorities. Because it's gonna take time to accrue enough Arqads to even fill this, just to get a half an Arqad a second. And for now, functionally speaking, I only really need Arqads as modules for other apiary setups. Which I don't really need that many apiaries to begin with for the other setups. What I am going to do is I'm going to place probably not all the belt, because I'm pretty sure I still need a lot more than 257 just to complete this build. Hi, Dolly. How's my kitty? How's the kitty cat? The pretty girl. Oh, the pretty baby. Hello, my pretty baby. Oh, yes, I know. You can go back here. That's my baby. That's the baby. She doesn't like being held as much. At least not in that way that I just did. She doesn't care for it as much. Ollie's better. Ollie's better at being held than she is. But she's an acrobat. She loves to jump. Like that. Like jumping off to the desk. Huh? Yes, my baby? How's the baby? You're feeling cold. You're cold. Oh, you're cold. My hands are cold, too. Must be a cooler day. Speaking of which, we're going to have another snowstorm this weekend. Friday night into Saturday morning. I had a sore back earlier this week from shoveling snow from the first snow accumulation for actually shovelable levels of snow that we've had in this area for 5 years happened this past Friday and Saturday ish, around those lines. Several inches of snow on the ground accumulated. And now we're going to get another storm with more wind this time. So that's going to be glorious. Absolutely wonderful. All right, there's the natural gas. Just need to hook up that biomass now. And we are officially producing additional Arqads. They're supposed to be like wasps, but they look like flying maggots. Like flies. Or like flying grub type things. Oh yeah, power. Power helps. Power would help a fair bit going down the line. That would absolutely be useful. Now I am gonna like have some barrels get leached into there without being operational, but I'll have to just deal with that for the moment. Alrighty then, that, as they say, is going to have to be that for this section of the build, for like this build, for a little bit. Because now I have to wait for the modules to accrue. So we'll have to like work towards something else. I'm gonna do this. Interesting how that worked. So I can get down a radar, and I'll power. There we go. Glorious radar coverage. It still didn't get the full thing. Are you serious? Anyway. So let's start putting in the infrastructure for the rest of the stuff. The honeycombs are next. So honeycombs. We're gonna need to have Ulrich brought in. Temporarily. Not really temporarily, because we'll probably also be... I don't like... What happens when I need more Arqads? I'm building here. This entire square can be dedicated to Arqads. I don't care anymore. Like this whole thing can just be like the actual Arqad as Arqad production. They are incredibly expensive on bitumen. Slash the chromium and tin. But that's just this alloy. I'm likely going to be... Once I have the molten recipes for this alloy, I will use that instead. and just bring in the alloy by train when I need it. There will be better options for natural gas eventually, / alternative options for natural gas eventually. I could just pump it out of the ground, out of a bitumen seep, but don't want to rely on the bitumen seeps. I have decided this entire playthrough we're not going to seep. We're not going to rely on the seep stuff mechanics for the full duration of the playthrough. I looked at them. I saw what they provided, was deeply disappointed, and have gone with alternatives. To my mind, they do not exist as a mechanic now. Just because they made them limited. If they provided a percentage, that would have been more reasonable, but they don't, so I'm not using them. By providing a percentage, it would have been infinite on the resource. But no, they're finite by default. And I'm like, no. There should not be finite oil. I am upset that they removed the infinite oil as an option. Hell, finite oil used to be optional. Now it's 100% required with no recourse. Just tacking it on to the list of the various things that I would change if I were to make like another like balance mod to Pyandons in general. So, I need to ask, the camera. It's a lot clearer of an image coming through, but the frame rate is trash. So, I have to ask, do we keep the clearer image quality of the camera, or do I just mount my webcam back and use the webcam, which has 30 frames per second, but a slightly lower image quality? Not really a slightly lower. I notice the difference in the image quality. But yeah. Take your pick. Let me know. Give me some feedback. Is like the 20 frame per second camera too distracting for frame rate? And do you want to just go back to the webcam? In an ideal world, I would have proper frame rate at higher image quality, but this camera's interface output is USB 2.0 limited, and it, for whatever reason, it just can't do 720p through that interface. Yeah, but I don't want to have to set up the same thing somewhere else. I don't want to have to set up another train station and destroy a train station because one of these things ran out of oil. Like, you realize I play on maximum density ore patches for a reason. I personally hate having to relocate my mining of all resources. I want the resource. I don't want to process the resource. I don't want to have to hunt down the resource and have to keep moving mining drills over and 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 over again. Same applies to oil. Like I am quite consistent with my desires on all of this. I am very consistent. Gosh, I need 10 again of these. Jeez. It would help if I could draw a straight line. 2 more. Oh boy. Yeah, it's not about finding more. It's about all of the work involved that I'd rather be spending my time doing other things. Actually progressing the game, you know? Like, as much as it doesn't seem like it, I do value my time. All right, I need more belt. And honestly, if I've done something, I've done something, and I don't want to go back and do it again unless I absolutely have to. If I can avoid having to go back and do something a second time, I will do so. And that includes making infinite density wherever I can on ore patches, so I don't have to go and redo them. Needing more for this because I need more is different from having to go back and delete a mined out ore patch and having to relocate somewhere else just to maintain my current levels. Like I'm not interested in that. It's not fun to me. It is a waste of my time. So yeah, I am never going to use these seeps in their current form until they change. The mod set needed a reason to use oil sands. Though, that it needed a reason to use oil sands because, frankly, if I had infinite amounts of fluid from seeps, you're damn right I would not be using oil sands. I would not be touching oil sands with a 10-foot pole. But forcibly limiting as a finite resource the bitumen seeps on everyone and having really low values for the actual amount of stuff that you get per seep was several steps too far. Several steps too far. You see, what you do in those circumstances is if you really just don't want to have a resource that you have to build that you want to build over, you get the ore eraser mod. You get the ore eraser mod, and then you never have to deal with looking at having built on top of resources. You can just delete them from the face of existence. You know, like that. Goodbye. They don't live it. They don't live there anymore. They're gone. And if I'm not mistaken, there's also like a mover mod, a resource mover mod, but I'm not as certain about if that's like still a thing or working, or if it works on oil, like modded stuff. Oh, they're trying to give me more rails. I see. I don't really care as much, but we'll get the rails stacks. Alright, off we go. How many Arqads are in the box? 33. Wonderful. Yeah, because sometimes you would like to use a resource, but you don't like where it's positioned. So it's like, could I please just, like, cut and paste it somewhere else? That would be ideal. At times. It's a bit powerful, though, so you have to, like, make sure that you set yourself some ground rules as to its use. Because then you may as well be playing, like, C-Block at that point if you could just put resources, move resources to wherever you need them to be or want them to be. That can be extremely powerful. Potentially. Okay, let's get that, get the... Oh, I didn't... Oh, I have cages in my car. Good. My train. Cage. Yes, I need cages to be filtered to the right. I said to the right. Actually, no, the cages go there, and then the Ulrich will go in there. So this area will be dual purpose. It will produce the honeycombs, and it will produce the wax. Honeycombs and wax here. It will provide honeycombs, and it will provide wax. How much wax, or excuse me, not wax, honey. How much honey I want? Is a great question. Arqad honey. What is it otherwise used for? Vat brain biocomputing, which I'm not going to do, for chemical science. I am tempted on the purple and utility, but I don't know, because there's nothing stopping me from doing the production and utility once I have Pi Science, right? Like, chemical science, a lot of the best chemical science recipes also need Pi Science now, so even if you can do the vat brain biocomputing for chemical science, it's not as useful as it once was. There's still a few recipes dealing with logistics and like robot speed and such that are very useful, yes, but you're not able to unlock like the upgraded recipes that make your life a lot better anymore without Pi Science, like the abiotic ammonia recipe. But you don't have that problem with production or utility science. So once you get a trickle through VatBrain biocomputing, you could actually end up getting all of the text before you even properly build the science packs. Which I may do, because there are production and utility sciences that I very much would like before getting access to those sciences. But that's a lot of Arqad honey now. That's been added to this. It was fine before Arqad honey, but now it's been both delayed by Arqad honey and the amount of work involved. Yeah, that's just the work involved and the changes in sciences. Like, they really nerfed it to hell. Resveratrol will need a bunch of Arqad honey, and the quality Ulrich food now needs Arqad honey, and quality Fagnot food, and sugar as an alternative sugar recipe. Really? I absolutely would prefer to do this over the sweet syrup shenaniganery. Quite frankly, I would rather these than Tufra for sugar. Oh my gosh, that would save so much Tufra. That was like the main thing that was eating up my Tufra, I think, in the Paidu Valley series was sugar. I did the sugar for the fiber recipe, and of course for the energy drinks in particular as well. Yeah. I wanted the fiber, I wanted the stem cells at one point. That was eating stuff. It's nice that that's an option. Can I get tart or crude through the wax or honeycombs? Well, yeah, the whole point of Arqads is that they're like hydrocarbon producers, right? So there should be various things, but this specific area is for the honey, which is why I was looking for, like, is it worth overproducing the Arqad honey? That's the question I'm trying to answer here, and because it's used in resveratrol, of which I'm going to need infinity resveratrol later on, I'm going to need infinite resveratrol to raise these cubs and pups and various creatures, and I'll need it for PKSs as well later on. Yeah, because I want myself a Vidicis. I absolutely want a Vidicis, and it's apparently needed in all this mess. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? For, like, science packs and such. That's a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, GTA. Hello. That's new for GTA. Well, they really did a number on the late game stuff here to try to throw the cotton gut stuff down your throat. I guarantee that this was all King Arthur doing all this, because King Arthur came up with the entire setup for making sciences out of these cotton gut items as an alternative way of getting into sciences. The problem was that it was too expensive compared to the sciences. And it looks like it still is. But he made it so that there's now requirements outside of science for these things. So it's like, oh, if you're gonna be making them anyway, you may as well make the science out of them now. Well, don't you? Won't you? Yeah. You may as well make some science out of them, because you have to make them anyway. No, I'd rather burn them, thanks. I'm going to be burning them, rather than converting to science. Because it's relatively easy to convert to science, but I'm going to have science. I'm going to have more than enough science. And keeping things moving is far more important to me. I'm going to need steam. So I'm going to need benzene. 240 steam. Just over 240 steam. Is going to need 5 boilers. Oh, I remember the days when tar and crude oil actually had a fuel value that was sufficient. When most things had a pretty high fuel value. Ahem. Yeah, I'm why they changed that. I think I'm the reason that crude oil has like kilojoules and hydrogen and a whole bunch of stuff for fuel value. Like they neutered quite a few things. Fuel value. Coal bed, I think, changed. Coal gas changed. Syngas, I think, changed a lot. Crude oil, yeah. 82.5 kilojoules. It used to be like a megajoule per unit of crude oil. Yeah, like it forced an entire rebalance of fuel values on all of the stuff when I pointed out just how powerful it was with these things for making power. Like, this was hands down the best way of making power for your base, was just taking in like tar, infinite tar or crude oil, and just burning it, throwing it in steam engines through these boilers. Those were the days. Hey, why no modules? Hi, Dolly. It was you. Hey, modules? Do you? Do you module, though, bro? Yes, you do module, so... Like, come on. Come on, I only need 9 of these slaughterhouses. Yeah, the rest does not really get modules. Still need 7. Okay. Delete you. Don't need you. Saving resources while I can. And you take in a de bones. And output de lard. Need to decide about the steam. Whoops. Yeah, so it's like there was the point of what you use like wax for. Wax can make tar, but not at this science level. Wax can make lubricant. That's pretty cool. So tar and lube. And advanced castings. You can make empty combs out of wax. This has always been confusing to me. So a filled comb can produce bitumen and make a used comb. To get a filled comb, you need an empty comb. To get an empty comb, you make it out of creosote, which needs tar, tailings dust, which is a lot of tailings, sand, coal dust, and ash to actually make combs. Apparently wax can make combs again. This does not... I don't know what sort of a ratio this is. I think this is a net negative. Yeah, you fill the combs, but you need tall oil. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the kicker here. Like there's like this whole system to do like filled combs. It gives you bitumen and tar, but you need tall oil. But you need tall oil. That's an awful ratio for tar into tall oil. That's 3 to 2, which I guess is better. But then how you getting your naphtha? Like you get it from twice as much crude, or you get it from shale oil, or you get it like 10 to 1 from tar. You can get it from wood, or you can get it heavy oil. Well, then there's more bitumen there. Like I need to do some math. There's some math there involved just to see if it's even worthwhile. All right, continuing along. With all of this, yeah, I can connect this to power. This will not be operational today, just an FYI, because we're waiting an infinity amount of time to accrue Arqads. Looks like I have 86. I could expand it more and make it go a little bit faster. I'll do that between streams over the weekend. I'll get all of this up and running over the weekend, including the honey in the end, because I mean, once we've seen Arqads, we've now seen Arqads. I'll just go and use this to do the oleochems. I think I've done oleochems already through this process. I don't remember as much. This takes in the bones. Remember that lard, if sourcing from Ulrich, it's better to do bones to lard because Ulrich make more bones than makes lard from slaughterhouses. And you can convert bones 1 to 1 into lard. Plus productivity. So it ends up being better to do it this way if sourced from Ulrich and a few other creatures. I only need this one building, right? Yeah. This combines with titanium. for your input. Needs water as an input. Oh, it produces steam. All right, I've started to actually do this properly now. I'm going to need a cooling tower. And by properly, I do not mean doing a closed water loop. I do not mean doing a closed water loop. I mean not using a tailings pond to delete steam, but cooling it into water and then dumping the water in a sinkhole. What am I even looking for here? The cooling tower. Yeah, this thing. Show me. Break that. Show me the cooling tower. Yeah. So you're going to use 300. The cooling tower is able to cool, I think, about that much. And then dump the water. Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's some people who would absolutely hate that concept. It's like, oh, but you're making the water, it uses 300 and it makes 300 steam. It's closed loop. You don't need a water source at all for this. But no, I don't care. I have had closed loop systems die because of bugs with the game. I don't want that to be a potential point of failure ever again. So that's making oleochems. This is going to consume some oleochems. I'm going to put a building 2 tiles away. 1, 2. And I'm going to need some more steel. To make empty barrels. Wouldn't it be nice if empty barrels were a productive process? It matters 0 that they're productive. It does not matter that they're productive. It just will take longer to get the barrels in the system. Oh, wouldn't you know it? But I'm 1 tile off. I'm not gonna move it. We'll just be 1 tile off. In perpetuity. All right then. That leaves 4 spore collectors. Producing Bodos. This is the 60% recipe for the Bodos, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Bodo spores, I should say, very specifically. Because for whatever reason, the Arqads feed on the Bodo spores to make these empty honeycombs. Like, okay. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 3 ingredients on your input, so we need 2 of these. And just for the heck of it, does not matter which one is shared. I'm gonna share with the Relesia and go there. And that will go there. And these will come out on this side. I will need to filter the empty barrels to the right. input, input, output. Grab all of this to paste it there, 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 and there. Excellent. Excellent job. Just add Relesia. And, you know, titanium and Ulrich. That will produce the honeycombs. They're going to go in a box for a while. From there, honey. I need a grand total of 8.6. 8.6, honey. Let's go with 25. That's a half an Arqad honeycomb. Oh boy. You can feed the muck. Oh my god, that's a huge increase. Hello, times 6 increase to filled honeycombs by using Muckmo instead of Ulrich. That's actually justified. Oh, look, and then there's an A. There's an A recipe that makes it 24 for a Muckmo. Oh, joy. Hey, that's not that bad. That is not that bad. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Muckmo's gonna be the winner here. It's also a really fast craft time. Yeah, the Muckmo will be the winner. I will switch to that once I have Muckmo. Then I don't have to worry about honey, really, at that point. So that's the factory, basically. Just pin that. It only needs Ulrich in, and guess what? We're already going to be bringing Ulrich in here to make the honeycombs. Just gonna... Gosh, think about how I probably won't really need more than a single line here on these honeycombs. I say that knowing that someone is going to tell me that's famous last words, but I'm thinking about these are Mark 1 buildings. There's Mark 4 buildings that will have a whole bunch more modules. There's upgraded modules. There's upgraded recipes that will make things better when I eventually need to permanently spend these things. I still think I'm going to be fine with a single line here. And if not, fine, I'll do more off to the side. So for now, we're going to keep these guys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And fortunately, I do not need to have any barrels. Woohoo! No barrels for this. Absolutely none. What it is going to need to do is filter for the honeycomb at the end, the empty honeycomb, not here, but somewhere over here to the right, and it'll need to go feeding back with the Ulrich there. Grab this line down here. basic logistics. Whoops. And eventually power and all that good stuff once I have the modules to make this move. That's why I'm not as concerned about getting the actual stuff brought into here yet, because I just... from there, I need that and that. Producing that and that. There. And outputting... Oh, I guess you only output that solid, so I don't even need the filter. I'll get the beginnings of my power lines anyway. There we go. Down? I said down. Over. And in. That, as they say, is that. That is all the infrastructure that I need to make the honey. I will be going through and finishing the logistics, getting our 117 Arqads into here until eventually we have enough to fill this, and then have enough to fill this, and get this, the imports all done. I'll do all of that between our streams, so that when we return next time, I will have actual Arqad honey put onto the train network, and we can move on to something else. I'll also be working on all of this stuff in here that I need to do to get this stuff onto the train network. Of course, things like retrovirus will be doing the most up-to-date versions of these processes that I like, the most recent recipes that I have access to, the best recipes that I have access to. I might microfiber off screen because I've made fiber before, and it's just one pulp mill step with sodium hydroxide and fiber. It's not necessarily new, you could say. Retrovirus and Varcocoon will be made off screen, so I will have everything to do the DNA polymerase, but we'll do that together. I'll just make sure that I have everything to make it ready for next time, and I guess we're doing fish. We're gonna start work towards Corlex next time. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start work towards Corlex next time. This Formamide is just going to be a two train station input. I didn't break primers down, did I? We're going to do sea sponges. We're going to do sea sponges. We're gonna do sea sponges now, aren't we? We're gonna have to do that, which means scaling Zogna actually for me. But we're not going to do sea sponges next time. We're going to focus on getting into the fish for the Corlex. I want to get the fish and Corlex done next. So that'll be what we end up doing on Tuesday. With that, folks, I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Shibot. If you have enjoyed today's stream, where we've talked a lot and worked with Arqads, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/OtakuShowboat. If you are so inclined and able, I will be streaming the Hunter Call of the Wild on Monday, and we'll be back with more of Factorio on Tuesday. I hope to see you all on the next one.